The sound of metal scraping concrete echoed through Sunbeam Court as Chisom Okoro dragged her second box up the staircase, sweat beading on her forehead despite the evening breeze. She paused at the top, adjusting the headscarf that covered most of her hair, and knocked softly on the landlady's door. "Good evening, Ma. I'm the new tenant for room 7. Mama Kudi opened the door, her large frame filling the doorway as she studied the young woman before her. Chisom stood with her head slightly bowed, hands clasped in front of her modest ankle-length dress, the picture of humility. "Oh, welcome, my dear. You look like a proper home-trained girl. Not like these other ones that wear trousers and answer men with sharp mouth." Mama Kudi smiled warmly. "If you need anything, my door is always open." "Thank you, Ma. God bless you, Ma." Chisom's voice was barely above a whisper as she continued to her room, leaving Mama Kudi nodding approvingly. Inside room 7, Chisom set down her boxes and surveyed the small space. One standing fan that had seen better days, one plastic bucket, a worn mattress on the floor, and walls that had probably been white sometime in the previous decade. She didn't unpack much because there wasn't much to unpack. A few clothes, some toiletries, a small radio, and a Bible with a faded leather cover. She placed the Bible prominently on the windowsill where anyone entering would see it immediately. The next morning, before 6 o'clock, Chisom was already sweeping the corridor outside her room. The rhythmic swish of the broom drew curious glances from neighbors heading to the shared bathroom. By the time the compound fully woke up, she had swept the entire upstairs corridor and was quietly watering the wilting plants near the staircase. "New girl." A woman's voice boomed from below. "You know they sleep for this house." Chisom looked down to see a voluptuous woman in a colorful wrapper, hands on her hips, grinning up at her. This was Adaeze, the owner of the small provision shop at the compound gate. "Good morning, Ma," Chisom called down. "I just wanted to help small. The place was dirty." "Ma, abeg, call me Sister Adaeze or just Ada. We are age mates. Come down when you finish, let me give you pure water. You don't try." By noon, the compound grapevine was humming. At Adaeze's shop, where women gathered to buy Maggie and gossip in equal measure, Chisom was the topic. "That new girl very decent," said Ngozi, a single mother of 2. "Not like that blessing in room 3 that brings different men every weekend. I greet her this morning, she kneel down SEF," another woman added. "When last you see young girl with manners like that?" Even the security man, Uncle Jide, was impressed. "She no do shokara at all. No makeup, no tight cloth, just humble and quiet. No proper wife material." Mama Kudi beamed with satisfaction whenever she heard such reports, already mentally planning to introduce Chisom to her son whenever he visited from Lagos. The days that followed seemed to confirm everyone's first impression. Chisom moved through the compound like a gentle breeze, helpful but never intrusive, present but never demanding attention. When Mama Kudi's grandchildren came to visit, Chisom helped bathe them without being asked. When Mr. Bello, the retired civil servant in room 1, struggled with his shopping bags, she materialized at his elbow offering assistance. "Thank you, my dear," Mr. Bello said, studying her face with eyes that had seen many things in his 70 years. "What is your name again?" "Chisom, sir." "It means God follows me." Mr. Bello's response was noncommittal, but something in his gaze lingered a moment too long. "God follows you, you say? That is a good name. Let us hope the meaning holds true." Chisom smiled sweetly and went on her way, but if anyone had been watching closely, they might have noticed the briefest flicker of something cold in her eyes. Within 2 weeks, Chisom had become indispensable to the compound's social fabric. She somehow knew exactly when to appear with a kind word or helping hand. When Ngozi's children fought over food, Chisom appeared with extra bread. When 2 tenants nearly came to blows over a parking space, Chisom stepped between them with her soft voice and softer smile. "Please, peace is better than pride. We are all family here. Brother Emeka, you can park here today. Brother Chidi, tomorrow it will be your turn. Simple. Remarkably, they agreed. Both men walked away feeling like Chisom had sided with them. Adaeze, whose shop was the heartbeat of Sunbeam Court, took special liking to Chisom. Where Adaeze was loud and generous with her opinions, Chisom was quiet and measured. Where Adaeze wore her heart on her sleeve and her wrapper low on her waist, Chisom covered herself modestly and kept her emotions carefully controlled. They became unlikely friends. Chisom, come keep shop for me small, Adaeze would call out. I won't go cook. And Chisom would come, handling customers with quiet efficiency, never cheating, always polite, sometimes even adding a few extra cubes of Maggi into purchases for elderly customers. That girl is a blessing, Adaeze told anyone who would listen. I fit trust her with my whole shop. It was during one of these shopkeeping sessions that Chisom first demonstrated her growing influence. A tenant came to buy on credit, as tenants often did, but Adaeze had refused her earlier that morning. Sister Ada said I should collect the money first, Chisom said gently to the woman. But I know you. You always pay. Let me give you, I will tell her you will pay tomorrow. The woman left grateful, and when she paid the next day as promised, Adaeze was impressed. You get good eye for people, Chisom. Me, I no trust anybody with my money, but you, I fit trust you. Chisom ducked her head modestly. Thank you, Ma. No God. By the end of her first month, Chisom had achieved what most tenants never managed in years. She had the landlady's trust, the security man's respect, and access to almost every apartment in the building. People gave her their spare keys when they traveled. They asked her to hold money for them until month-end when temptation to spend it might be too strong. They confided in her about their problems, their debts, their secrets. Only Mr. Bello remained skeptical. One evening, as Chisom helped Mama Kudi carry groceries, he called out from his veranda. Mama Kudi, beware of angels that arrive with empty hands but leave with full bags. Mama Kudi laughed. Mr. Bello, you are just too suspicious. This girl is a child of God. Look at her, so gentle and helpful. My sister, Mr. Bello said quietly, his voice carrying the weight of decades, I have lived long enough to know that the snake does not announce itself with a rattle. When a person is too good to be true, check them twice. Check them 3 times. Chisom's smile never wavered, but her fingers tightened imperceptibly on the grocery bag. It's okay, Ma. Uncle Bello is just being careful. That is wisdom. But alone in her room that night, Chisom's expression transformed. The gentle smile disappeared, replaced by cold calculation as she pulled out a small notebook from beneath her mattress. Page after page contained names, amounts, schedules, and observations. Who kept money in their wardrobe? Who hid jewelry in their kitchen? Who was behind on rent and desperate? Who traveled regularly and when? Who trusted her most? She had been studying them all, noting patterns, testing boundaries with small requests that were always granted. Borrowing 500 naira here, 2,000 there, always paying it back promptly to build trust. Creating small confusions, like mentioning to one person that another had said something about them, then watching how they reacted, learning who was quick to anger, who held grudges, who could be manipulated. Her phone buzzed. A message from a number saved as Bodija contact, read, merchandise ready. When are you supplying? Chisom smiled, but it was nothing like the smile Sunbeam Court knew. This smile held teeth. Soon, she typed back. Very soon. The opportunity came during the rainy season when Ibadan skies opened up with the kind of downpour that turned streets into rivers. It was a Wednesday night, and most people were indoors. Adaeze had closed her shop early because of the rain, locking up and hanging the key on its usual hook in her room before heading to her sister's house for a family meeting. Chisom, I dey go my sister's house, Adaeze had said earlier. If anybody come ask for something urgent, my spare key dey with you. But no worry, I go come back later. Okay ma, travel well. Greet your sister for me. That night, while rain pounded the zinc roofs and thunder masked every other sound, Chisom moved through the compound like a shadow. She knew exactly which floorboards creaked, which stairs groaned, which paths the security man took during his rounds. She had been studying them all. The padlock on Adaeze's shop opened smoothly. No force needed when you had the key. Inside, walking by the light of her phone, Chisom methodically emptied the shop. Cartons of rice, noodles, milk, Milo, sugar, Gary, everything of value disappeared into the large Ghana-Mosgo bags she had hidden earlier in the abandoned boys' quarters behind the compound. The rain was her accomplice, drowning out every sound, washing away every footprint. By morning, when the rain had reduced to a drizzle, everything was gone. Only empty shelves remained, bearing silent witness to the night's betrayal. Adaeze's scream woke up half the compound. My shop! My shop! Jesus! They have killed me! People rushed out in various states of undress, shocked and confused. The security gate was still locked. The padlock on the shop had been opened, not broken. No signs of forced entry, no broken windows, nothing. How is this possible? Uncle Jide, the security man, kept repeating, his face ashen. The gate was locked all night. I swear it. Nobody pass here. Mama Kudi arrived, breathing heavily. Adaeze, what happened? Everything is gone. Adaeze wailed, her usual confidence shattered. Over 600,000 naira worth of goods. Everything. The money I borrowed to stock, the profits I was saving to send my son to university, everything. Chisom appeared then, looking freshly woken, her headscarf slightly askew, concern etched on her face. Sister Ada, what happened? Adaeze grabbed her, sobbing. They have robbed me, Chisom. They have finished me. No, 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 Chisom held her, making soothing sounds. Who would do this? Did they break the lock? That's the thing, Mr. Bello's voice cut through the chaos. He stood examining the shop, his eyes sharp despite his age. The lock was opened properly. Someone had a key. The implication hung in the air like smoke. Slowly, eyes began to turn toward Chisom. She was the only other person with a key. Wait, Ngozi said carefully. Chisom, you had the spare key, ABI. Chisom's eyes widened. Yes, Sister Eddie gave it to me in case of emergency, but I would never. Sister Ada, you know me. How can I do such a thing? Mama Kudi stepped forward protectively. That is impossible. This girl cannot even kill a mosquito. I know character when I see it. Mama Kudi is right, another tenant agreed. Chisom is not that kind of person. But Mr. Bello's voice was quiet and firm. Then we should not mind if we search her room. If she is innocent, there is nothing to fear. Adaeze looked torn, her eyes red and swollen. Chisom, I'm sorry, but my life is inside that shop. If you say you did not do it, let them search. Let everybody's mind rest. Of course, Chisom said, her voice small and hurt. Search. I have nothing to hide. But Sister Ada, this pained me that you can even think it was me. The police arrived an hour later. Called by one of the tenants who knew someone who knew someone. They searched Chisom's room thoroughly, turning over her mattress, checking inside her fan, emptying her boxes. They found nothing. Just modest clothes, a worn Bible, some toiletries, and a small amount of money. You see, Mama Kudi said triumphantly. I told you. This girl is clean. The police took statements, dusted for fingerprints that would lead nowhere, and eventually left with promises to investigate. The matter seemed closed, though whispers remained. Something is not adding up, one tenant muttered to another. She had the key. But they searched her room and found nothing. Where would she hide all those goods? Maybe she is innocent. We should not accuse without proof. Chisom played her role perfectly. She comforted Adaeze, helped her clean the empty shop, even offered her the small savings she had supposedly been keeping. Sister Ada, please take this 2,000 naira. I know it's not much, but it's all I have. Let me help you small. Adaeze waved it away, tears streaming down her face. Keep your money, Chisom. Thank you for caring. God will fight for me. Amen, Chisom said softly, her eyes downcast. God will surely fight for you. Only Mr. Bello watched the scene with unconcealed suspicion. That evening, he cornered Chisom at the water pump. My dear, he said quietly, I have been in this world long enough to recognize a performance when I see one. The snake that smiles will strike when you least expect. Chisom looked at him with wounded eyes. Uncle, why do you hate me? What have I done to you? I do not hate you, my child. I simply do not believe you. And one day, very soon, everyone will see what I see. He walked away, leaving Chisom staring after him with an expression that, had anyone seen it, would have chilled their blood. The compound slowly returned to its routine, though a shadow had fallen over Sunbeam Court. Adaeze struggled to restock her shop with borrowed money, her confidence shaken. Some tenants treated Chisom with renewed warmth, feeling guilty for having suspected her. Others maintained a careful distance, not quite convinced but lacking proof. Chisom continued her quiet, helpful presence, but she was more cautious now. She had been within hours of moving the goods to her contact in Bodija Market when the discovery happened. Now they sat in those Gonna-must-go bags in the abandoned boys' quarters, waiting for the right moment. That moment came 2 weeks later, on a Saturday morning when most people were out. Chisom made several trips to a waiting Kiki Napep, disguised as someone simply moving personal items. The driver asked no questions because she paid him well not to. By afternoon, the goods were delivered to a warehouse in Bodija Market, and money had exchanged hands. She was back in Sunbeam Court by evening, looking as innocent and gentle as ever, carrying a small bag of groceries like any other tenant. But she had made one mistake. One tiny, careless mistake that would unravel everything. The next Saturday morning, Ngozi's 7-year-old son, Chinedu, was playing near the abandoned boys' quarters where children sometimes hid during hide-and-seek. He found a crumpled nylon bag half buried in red mud behind the building. Inside was garbage mostly, but something white caught his eye. He pulled it out, a folded piece of paper with faded blue ink. Mommy, see what I found. Ngozi barely glanced at it while cooking. Put it down, Chinedu. Don't touch dirty things. But later, while clearing the table, she picked up the paper her son had left there. It was a receipt, slightly water-damaged but still legible. Her eyes widened as she read. It was a wholesale invoice from a supplier in Bodija Market. The list of items made her hands tremble. Rice, golden penny, indomie, peak milk, Milo, golden morn. The exact items stolen from Adaeze's shop, down to the specific brands and quantities. And at the top of the receipt, in clear letters, supplied by Miss Chisom Okoro. Contact, 0803. Ngozi's heart hammered in her chest. Her mind raced through the implications. She remembered how Chisom had comforted Adaeze. How she had offered money. How she had cried at being suspected. All of it, a performance. She grabbed the receipt and ran to Adaeze's shop. Sister Ada. Sister Ada. Adaeze looked up from arranging her sparse new stock. Ngozi, wetin happen? You dey run like person dey pursue you. Look. Ngozi thrust the receipt at her. My son found this behind the boys' quarters. Read it. Read it well. Adaeze's face went through several emotions as she read. Confusion, disbelief, then dawning horror. No. No, this cannot be true. It's true, Ada. Look at the signature. Look at the phone number. That girl played all of us. But where are the goods now? If she stole them, where did she take them? The receipt shows she supplied them to a warehouse in Bodija. She probably sold everything already. Adaeze's sadness transformed into rage. Let us go there. Now. I want to see this with my own eyes. They took a taxi to Bodija Market, following the address on the receipt. The market was its usual chaotic self, crowded with shoppers and sellers, the air thick with the smell of peppers and stockfish. They found the warehouse tucked behind a row of shops, its entrance guarded by a young man barely out of his teens. Please, we are looking for the owner, Ngozi said. Madam, they inside. Wetin you want by? We just want to ask some questions. Inside the dim warehouse, surrounded by towers of wholesale goods, a middle-aged woman looked up from her account book. Yes. How can I help you? Adaeze showed her the receipt. This woman, Chisom Okoro, she supplied goods to you? The woman's face brightened with recognition. Ah yes, Sister Chisom. Very reliable supplier. She brought plenty goods last week. Quality items, good price. Why? You know her. The confirmation hit Adaeze like a physical blow. Her knees weakened and Ngozi had to hold her up. She is my friend, Adaeze whispered. Those goods were mine. She stole them from my shop. The warehouse owner's expression changed from friendly to wary. I don't know anything about that. Oh. She sold them to me proper. I paid her cash. They left with their proof, Adaeze's face set in stone. The betrayal was complete. The gentle girl who had comforted her, cried with her, offered her money, had been the thief all along. Had probably been planning it from the day she arrived. By evening, they were back in Sunbeam Court, and this time they came prepared. Ngozi had called her cousin who worked at the police station. He arrived in a private car with 2 other officers, keeping things quiet until they were ready. Chisom was watering the wilting plants near the staircase, her usual gentle smile in place, when Adaeze and Ngozi entered the compound with the police. The sight of them together, the grim determination on their faces, made Chisom smile falter. Sister Ada. Madam Supplier, Adaeze's voice was cold, cutting. So this was your plan all along. The compound had gone quiet. People emerged from their rooms, sensing drama. Chisom's face showed perfect confusion. I don't understand. What plan? What is happening? Ngozi stepped forward, holding up the receipt like a weapon. This is what is happening. My son found your receipt. We went to Bodija. The warehouse owner confirmed everything. You sold Sister Adaeze's goods to her. Everything we trusted you with, you used it to steal from us. The crowd gasped. Mama Kudi pushed through, her face disbelieving. Chisom, tell them it's a lie. Tell them. But Chisom's mask was slipping. Her eyes darted between the police, the receipt, the gathered crowd. The gentle, humble expression was cracking, revealing something harder underneath. I can explain, she started. I didn't steal. I just borrowed the goods to start a business. I was going to pay Sister Adaeze back with profit. I was helping both of us. Borrowed. Adaeze's voice rose to a shout that echoed through the compound. You borrowed 600,000 naira worth of goods without asking. You borrowed my life savings. You borrowed my son's school fees. I was going to return everything. Chisom's voice was desperate now, the careful modulation gone. With profit. I had a plan. Your plan was to destroy me. Adaeze lunged forward and Ngozi had to hold her back. While I was crying, you were comforting me. While I was dying inside, you were counting your money. You even offered me 2,000 naira, like I was a beggar. Like you didn't just steal my whole life. The police moved forward. Miss Chisom Okoro, you need to come with us to the station. No, wait, please. Chisom backed away, her carefully constructed persona shattering completely. Mama Kudi, tell them. You know me. I'm a good person. I made a mistake, but I'm not a thief. Mama Kudi stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. I gave you my house keys, Chisom. My house keys. I told people you were like my daughter. I never touched your house. Chisom cried. I only took from the shop. Only from the shop. Only. Mr. Bello's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. He stood on his veranda, shaking his head slowly. You hear that, everybody? She says only like betrayal has degrees. I told you. I told all of you. When someone is too good to be true, they usually are. The police moved to handcuff her. Chisom resisted, her voice rising to a scream. You people don't understand. I needed the money. I have responsibilities. My mother is sick. I needed to start something. So you destroyed me to build yourself? Adaeze's voice was quiet now, deadly quiet. You didn't just steal my goods, Chisom. You stole my peace. You stole my ability to trust people. You smiled in my face while planning my destruction. That is what hurts past the money. As the police led Chisom toward their car, her headscarf caught on the gate and fell into a muddy puddle. She didn't bend to pick it up. The gentle, modest disguise was no longer needed. Her real face was visible now, hard and calculating and desperate. The compound stood in stunned silence as the police car drove away. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across Sunbeam Court. The place that had felt like a community now felt contaminated, unsafe. Mama Kudi sat heavily on her doorstep, looking 10 years older. I pride myself on knowing people. How did I not see it? Because she was good, Ngozi said quietly. Very, very good at pretending. Not just pretending, Mr. Bello said, finally descending from his veranda. She studied us. Every one of us. She found our weaknesses and used them. She knew Mama Kudi wanted to see the good in people, so she became good. She knew Adaeze was generous and trusting, so she befriended her. She knew we all wanted to believe that someone could be purely kind, so she became that person. She was not just a thief. She was an architect of deception. Adaeze sat at her empty shop, staring at the bare shelves. I keep thinking about all the times she helped me. Was any of it real? Or was it all just setting me up for this? Does it matter? Ngozi asked. The result is the same. It matters to me, Adaeze whispered. Because if none of it was real, if I was just a mark from the beginning, then I did not even know the person I called my friend. I was friends with a ghost. The compound gradually emptied as people returned to their rooms, everyone processing the betrayal in their own way. Trust, once freely given, would now come with conditions and suspicions. The innocence of Sunbeam Court had died with Chisom's arrest. Only Mr. Bello remained outside, sitting on his chair, watching the gate as if expecting something. The night settled around him like a blanket, and his voice, when he finally spoke, was more sad than victorious. Even silence can lie, he said to no one in particular. Even humility can hide pride. Even kindness can mask cruelty. This is what age teaches you. That evil does not always announce itself with loud music and bright clothes. Sometimes it ties a scarf, bows its head, and says, "Good morning, Ma," before it destroys everything you have built. Inside her room, Adaeze finally allowed herself to cry properly, deep wrenching sobs that shook her whole body. She cried not just for the money, though that pain was real and crushing. She cried for the friendship she thought she had, for the trust that had been so carefully cultivated and so completely violated, for the peace of herself that had been stolen along with those goods. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the Story Vault TV family. Drop a comment below and tell us, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? How did you heal? Let's talk about it. And smash that like button if you believe this story needs to be heard. Because sometimes the most important lessons come wrapped in the most painful experiences. This is Story Vault TV, where every story leaves a mark and plants a seed of wisdom. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our next powerful story. Until next time, stay wise, stay watchful, and remember that not everyone who smiles at you is your friend.